Hello everybody, some would say I'm the Reverse, and welcome to my review for Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 4, which is also Arrow Season 8, Episode 8. Um, let's just get right into it. It's been a while since I uploaded. I'm sorry I haven't really had time to record anything. Um, and it was a good time. There was a lot of stuff going on, like school and stuff. It was a good time to be busy since there wasn't a lot of Arrowverse news to cover. So yeah, it was just a nice little coincidence that it happened in between the break. But yeah, let's just go over the episode basically. So it starts off with the origin of the Monitor, and it shows him 10,000 years ago, I believe it was. Um, and it is basically the purpose of it is to show that he is the one that created the Anti-Monitor and the antimatter universe when he went back in time to the dawn of time. Yeah, and I really like this because I believe the comic book character who went back in time and created the multiverse on accident in the comics, his name was Chrono. So yeah, um, I'm glad they gave it to the Monitor. It's just a lot more simple in the grand scheme of things in the Arrowverse itself. And yeah, I'm just glad they gave it to him. But yeah, he has a wife uh, in this in on this planet. I forgot what the planet is called. When I when I when I remember, I'll tell you guys. But but yeah, it was really cool section when he went to the temporal zone and stuff. I thought the effects were pretty good on that. Way better than what it would have looked like on any of the normal episodes of the shows. They clearly had a bigger budget in the Crisis. Still not amazing because it is the CW and they do have a low budget, but I thought it looked pretty cool. But yeah, that's basically that's how the episode starts. But then it goes back to the vanishing point. It shows where our paragons are all this time after part three, and it starts with Ryan Choi narrating it, and he's just talking about all the different paragons. The Paragon of Honor, he just meditates all the time. Paragon of Hope has lost hers, I think, is what he said about Kara, and I just like that they did this from the perspective of Ryan, since he is sort of a normal guy, and that's kind of his storyline so far in Crisis. He is the paragon of humanity, and they focused a lot on part three, and even in this part, that he's just a normal guy and that he doesn't think he fits in with all these superheroes. So I thought it was kind of cool that they did it from the perspective of him. Obviously, I think that's what they were going for, and that's why they did it, because he is sort of that human perspective on all of this, that normal person perspective. So yeah, oh yeah, the planet is called Maltus. I just remembered because I was thinking of Ryan's storyline in this episode. But yeah, the planet is called Maltus. That was the Monitor's planet. But yeah, they have been in the vanishing point for a month, and it turns out Barry left a long time ago. He went into the Speed Force, and but he comes out right at the beginning of this episode, and it turns out to him, I think he was only in there for a short while, but to everyone else, he was gone for a month. But then it cuts to Oliver and Jim Corrigan in Purgatory. Oliver just became the Spectre, and he's looking over. He relives. Um, he relives everything since the Queen's Gambit went down. We see him fighting Ra's al Ghul, Prometheus, Damien Dark, Malcolm Merlin, just a bunch of main villains from Arrow's past. So yeah, that was kind of cool. But but then he Jim Corrigan explains to Oliver that it was his destiny since the very beginning to defeat the Anti-Monitor. I didn't really like this, honestly, and I saw a few other people that didn't really like it that much. Um, that he was destined the entire time to be the one to save the multiverse. I thought that was kind of stupid. I kind of wish that something that he did during his time as the Green Arrow or just as a vigilante made him proved his worth, proved that he was worthy to be the Spectre. Instead, they did the usual trope that he was destined to become the Spectre from the very beginning, and I don't really like when they do that. When they have him have to prove his worth and reveal that he did something when he was the Green Arrow, it adds a lot to the hero that he actually is. Of all the people that could have been chosen, it was him because of what a hero he is, not because he was destined. But just a small thing, just a little nitpick. I would have preferred it that way. Um, but yeah, he goes to the Vanishing Point and he rescues all of the Paragons. Uh, and he unlocks Flash's full potential, basically. Because Barry, when he came out of the Speed Force, he said there is no way out even through the Speed Force. And Oliver said, the Speed Force is the key. It's just that Barry, because there's no multiverse, he's not fast enough to travel back in time to other places, um, like to other times and stuff. But Oliver unlocks his full potential, and Barry uses the Speed Force to get them out of the Vanishing Point. I thought that was kind of cool because they can't they can't physically get out of the Vanishing Point. Um, Not in the physical realm, but they use the Speed Force to do so. Um, and I thought that was a cool little scapegoat, and it makes sense. And it adds a lot to the Speed Force mythos in the Arrowverse. And I I just think it's a really cool decision for how they got out of there. But he drops Supergirl, Ryan Choi, and Lex Luthor in on Maltus during like 10,000 years ago, before the Monitor traveled back in time to create the Anti-Monitor and all that. And basically, what they want to do is prevent him from doing so. They want to prevent him from going back to the dawn of time and prevent him from creating all the Shadow Demons, the Anti-Monitor, the Antimatter universe, all the antimatter, everything. Um, they want to go back in time and stop that from happening. So yeah, they go back to Maltus 10,000 years ago, and yeah, basically Flash, he goes around the Speed Force to basically find them in different points in time, and he ends up running into Ezra Miller's Flash, and this was the craziest moment of the entire crossover, easily, because it was so unexpected. And it wasn't leaked, nobody knew about it, and nobody expected it to happen, nobody theorized it would happen. There were no rumors, theories, speculation about it, um, because frankly, it's it seemed impossible that that Ezra Miller, who is actually a pretty expensive movie star, after his stint as the Flash, would go onto the CW, which has a pretty low budget. So that was crazy. Yeah, he meets up with Barry. He meets Barry. Well, Barry meets Barry. Um, yeah, they're both named Barry, and Flash, our Flash, realizes this and says that's not possible anymore because the multiverse is destroyed and stuff. But it was really funny in this moment. They were like complimenting each other's suits, and Barry was saying, uh, Barry. I'll just say Grant and Ezra. That'll be easier. Grant told Ezra that his suit is practical and it seems safe and it's cool. And Ezra told Grant comfortable. His was comfortable, and it was just a really funny scene, honestly. And probably one of the coolest parts of this scene was um, Grant's Flash telling Ezra's Flash that he's the Flash, and this basically gave Ezra the idea for the Flash name. So if he calls himself, he's gonna call himself the Flash in the new Flash movie that's coming out soon. Yeah, I guess he got it from Arbery, which is it's awesome, honestly, how they did that. But on Multus, Lex, it turns out he gave himself powers, and yeah, he knocks Supergirl out and he knocks Ryan out, and he goes to confront the Monitor, and basically he doesn't want to stop the Anti-Monitor from being created, but he wants access to the machine that the Monitor used to travel back in time. He wants to uh, dominate the universes. How he put it, universal domination. So yeah, that's why he's doing what he's doing. So he goes there. Um, and yeah, I really like that Lex gave himself powers. I kind of expected it because he used the Book of Destiny. I expected there was a catch to that, and that he gave himself more than just like replacing Kingdom Come Superman with him, more than just being Paragon. I expected that there was going to be more to that, and I was right. So, um, and they didn't really, it wasn't really necessary, but it was a cool touch to give him powers because of the Book of Destiny. Um, so yeah, that's all I really have to say. Um, yeah, Lex actually convinces the Monitor to give him access to the machine, but Supergirl and Ryan, they get back there, and he tells the Monitor, she tells the Monitor that that he shouldn't trust Lex. I thought it was kind of cool that the Monitor trusted him because he is an inexperienced Monitor, a younger Monitor who would trust Lex, and I'm glad that he did. I think that is a cool touch because it shows just how much his character has grown over these 10,000 thousands of years. So yeah, that was cool. But yeah, Supergirl fights Lex with his new powers, and Flash goes back to he spread everyone across the Speed Force basically to get them out of the Vanishing Point, and he goes to gather them up. So he finds Sarah. Um, During season 3 of Arrow, right after she died, and we see Earth One Laurel. It's been a while since we've seen Earth One Laurel. It was really cool to see her back, even if it was for a little bit, and it was kind of an underwhelming, kind of disappointing version of her, since it didn't really feature any like crucial stuff with her. I thought when they really revealed that she was going to be in it, I expected a little bit more than this, but it's fine, I guess. Yeah, and he goes to get Sarah. He resurrects her because I guess they're in the Speed Force. So, yeah, and then he goes to get Kate, who is also in Arrow season 3 when Ray Palmer is telling Oliver that he's basically telling him he's not a hero. That was a scene from Arrow season 3, and I'm really glad that they did this for Batwoman. Instead of focusing on Batwoman's character, which would people really and I really wouldn't have cared that much, but I'm glad they showed this because it shows how much Oliver himself has grown since just these 5 years since season 3. Um, but it shows that he is in fact a hero now, and Ray Palmer back then didn't really think that, but I thought it was just a cool idea to give this moment to Batwoman, since it gives a lot more for her to do instead of her show's characters, which really wouldn't have much of an emotional impact or anything like that. Um, Jean goes to the Invasion crossover where Oliver and Kara are. So basically, um, I can't remember if this scene was in Invasion or if it's a new scene, but it's Oliver not trusting Kara because he or because she is an alien, and he wanted to create, some sort of normalcy. I don't know if we saw that. I can't really remember, but yeah, I think it was a decent scene, and Jean was there, um, basically telling Oliver what will happen, and that he ends up trusting Kara, and they end up becoming friends and allies, crucial allies, and yeah, I didn't think it was a bad scene. I just didn't think it added much. Jean could have gone anywhere, but then Flash picks him up, and yeah, and then the final Paragon. I think we got them all actually. There's Sarah, Jean, who else? Sarah, Jean, Kate. There's those three, and then there's the three that went to Maltus, and then there's Barry himself. So yeah, those are the 7 Paragons. He also goes to Elseworlds, um, which is really cool to see. I'm not gonna talk about that since it isn't really necessary, but yeah. And then they all go to the Dawn of Time in the Antimatter universe, that green tinted scene we've been seeing all over the trailers. Yeah. And they have a huge fight scene with the Shadow Demons and the Anti-Monitor. While Oliver, in his Spectre form, fights the Anti-Monitor. And, yeah, they basically, he says, um, Oliver will light the spark and the Paragons will fan the flame to create the new multiverse, or he just said create the new Earth, but I think it is a multiverse, and I'll talk about that later. But yeah, uh, I'm right when this moment came on. When he said create this new Earth. I was really glad because that is how I wanted this crossover to end. I kind of felt like people, the people who, the showrunners and stuff, and the writers wouldn't have the balls to, it's like, do anything new. I don't know why. I thought they were just gonna bring back the multiverse as it was, but I'm glad that they didn't, and I'm glad that they actually huge they changed the Arrowverse in a huge way, and I'll explain that later. But yeah, he shoots up this signal, or not a signal, like this. He just shoots his energy up in the sky, which is him creating the multiverse, basically, and he he quote unquote kills the Anti-Monitor. I'll talk about that when I get to part 5 in a separate video. Um, Spoiler alert: he doesn't kill the Anti-Monitor, but yeah, the Anti-Monitor is missing. We don't see him, so they think he's dead. But Oliver dies in a very emotional scene with Barry and Sarah. Definitely made me cry. Um, Oliver in the Elseworld scene told Barry that the heroes that die, or I can't remember exactly what he said, but he said the ones that die basically aren't the real heroes. The ones that have to live, um, are, I guess, and yeah, that's what he said when he died to Barry. And it, honestly, the saddest part about this scene was Grant's acting. He did a really good job in this scene, and it really drove the scene home for me, especially when Oliver closed his eyes and Barry was crying. That was really sad. But overall, such a sad scene and such a great episode. Um, I think it's easily the best episode of the crossover. Um, Out of the 5, the best crossover episode of the Arrowverse ever, I'd say. Just a really, really good episode. Um, and I'm just gonna end it here. Hope you guys enjoyed my review of part 4 of Crisis. Um, I'm not. I'm gonna go into more detail on the new Earths being created in the next video, since that is featured heavily in part 5. So yeah, stay tuned. That'll probably come up later today. I don't know, or tomorrow. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm sorry that I haven't been uploading a lot, but I do have a few videos coming up later. Not only this, but I also have the Part 5 review coming up, and another Arrow episodes ranked, Arrow 8th episodes ranked will be coming up soon, because the 8th episode of Arrow just came out. And then next week our shows come back, and I'll be doing reviews for all that, including Legends. One more video. What was I gonna do? Oh yeah, I might do a breakdown of all the new Arrowverse trailers. You know, the Flash trailer, the Supergirl trailer. I think we had a Batwoman trailer as well, and a Legends trailer. Um, yeah, I will be doing breakdowns of those maybe. Not confirmed, but there is some crazy stuff going on, especially with those Supergirl and Flash trailers. Those were some really good trailers that um, showed some pretty promising stuff for the back half of each of those seasons. So yeah, stay tuned for my Part 5 review and all those reviews next week, and some videos in the future, that Arrow ranking, episode ranking. But nonetheless, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. See ya.